What's up, everybody? My name's Big Cam and welcome back to another movie review. And today we are talking about another 2025 film, and this one was directed by Aziz Ansari as well as written by and stars Aziz Ansari. And this film is 2025's Good Fortune with Keanu Reeves, Aziz Ansari, and Seth Rogan starring as the big three, and Keke Palmer's in there as well. Sandra, yeah, like the cast of this really cracked me up, and it's like not too extensive a cast, you know, and there's a couple of people that, you know, just have like glorified cameo type spots, but for the most part it's, you know, Aziz, Seth Rogen, and Keanu Reeves, and the three of them together did exactly what I was looking last night and gave me the laughs that I was looking for. I wasn't like gut laughing, dying, you know, like, oh my god, that was too funny, but it made me like chuckle and made me smile and laugh in exactly the way I was looking for last night, when it was just kind of like, you know, it was late, I was like at 11 o'clock, I was like, oh, I don't want to get into anything too crazy or too serious, and I was scrolling through like Disney Plus, and I was like, alright, maybe I'll just watch like another Marvel movie, and I'll rewatch that, you know what I mean? And then I was like, but I need a movie to review for the channel, is there something on here I haven't seen? And as I'm scrolling through, I come across Good Fortune, and I was like, oh, you know what? I haven't seen that. I wanted to see that last year. I didn't necessarily hear any good reviews or anything from that. I don't think many people saw it last year. I think it came out in theaters at a weird time when there was a bunch of other things playing as well, so maybe it didn't get as much box office shine as it should have. But I think this should be a streamer that does really well, actually, you know, and I'm not sure how long it's been out on streaming, but Keanu Reeves as the angel Gabriel with his little wings, and he's not like a good angel, you know, he has to become a human, and he, you know, full circle comes all the way back around, and, you know, he's like smoking cigarettes, and he's like, I'm trying to make this guy, you know, think of his life as worthy, but this other guy's super fucking rich, and all of his problems can be solved by money. Like, it was actually like a good thought experiment, it really was, because like, if you're miserable and you're broke, and you're miserable with your life, sure, money could solve your problems, but will it make you happy? And some people are like, absolutely. Oh. And like, those are people that have never touched money a day in their fucking lives. You know, like, if you've ever made any type of real money, and I'm not talking about working a 9 to 5 and getting a paycheck at the end of the week. I'm talking about making real dough. You know, like if you've ever had thousands of dollars of cash in your hand and you're like, or in your pocket, and you're like, I don't know what to do with this. It's burning a hole in my pocket. I gotta spend it or lose it. You know, that type of shit. And, you know, if you're really, really, really rich and you just kept getting richer, what kind of problems do you really have? You know, he's like, I need slippers, I want to go to ayahuasca, I need the pool heater fixed, I need my garage cleaned out. And instead of doing any of that stuff yourself, you just hire somebody else to do it for you. So even your problems get solved by somebody else dealing with your problems. So what problems do you really have, except where does my more money come in? You know what I mean? Like, and I don't know, if this movie taught me anything, it was like, money doesn't buy happiness. It can buy pleasure, but it's only going to be momentary in the grand scheme of things. You know, you want to be with somebody that actually likes you for you, and you like them for them, and like, even like, you know, Seth Rogen's character of Jeff, he's like super fucking rich, and he has no friends, you know what I mean? Like, nobody that actually gives a damn about him, and he's all alone, and he like, I don't know, man, it made me think. Really, this whole movie made me think, but also, you know, was also dumb enough that like I shut off my brain and just was kind of like, you know, absorbing the story. And, you know, the premise of it is like, Aziz is really, really broke, right? And he's got this girl that he really likes, played by Keke Palmer. And Keke Palmer is severely underutilized in this movie, but she's still freaking great. I love Keke Palmer. I'd love to see her in anything. So, you know, her being like the little love interest in this, and if you guys know me, I am a sucker for a love story. So as soon as that was like thrown in there, I was like, oh man, I really hope him and Keke end up, you know, happily ever after type of bullshit. And luckily, I can say they do end up in kind of like a happily ever after. But is it though? You know, because like, he doesn't end up rich. He ends up kind of back home where he was. But Jeff doesn't end up firing him for spending a little bit of money. You know, he didn't even like do anything really that egregious. You know, he just was like, hey, you spent money on a company card for a date. You know, what the hell? He's like, dude, it was expensive. You told me to go there. I'll pay you back. And he goes, I'm sorry, I'll have to fire you. And like, doesn't give him a chance and just fires him. He loses his car. He's really down bad. He has no place to live. He was living out of his car. His car gets towed. He's not able to afford parking tickets, and to be able to get his car out of the tow lot, which is the dumbest system possible. They tow your car because you owe money on parking tickets. Then to get your car back, you have to pay the towing fee plus like the storing on the lot fee and all your parking tickets. And every day it's on the lot, it gets more expensive. So it's like, it's, you know, if you lose your car to a towing thing, no wonder why there's so many cars in tow lots that just people never will be able to get back. And they're just like, yeah, it got towed and I can't afford to get it out of there, you know? So, you know, at this point, you know, they towed his house. You know, he lives in his car. It gets towed on him and he's like, I'm fucked. I am completely fucked. And then Gabriel decides to switch his life with the rich guy. And he's like, oh, I am perfectly fine with this, dude. I was broke. My life was miserable, terrible. And now I'm rich. I got money. I got a house. I got a pool. I got people doing things for me. And he was like, well, you were supposed to see that the rich guy's life wasn't better than yours. And he goes, what are you talking about? Rich guys, my life is so much better with all this rich guy's money. But then he comes around, you know, full circle towards the end of the movie and he's like, yeah, you know what, I'm not happy even with all this money. You know, my dad, I bought a house and he doesn't even know who I am. My best friend from the gym doesn't know who I am, you know, like, and he's giving money. Like, he is such a good guy, but like, he doesn't want to go back to being this nobody with nothing. And Jeff, Seth Rogen's character, is this rich billionaire type of guy, and he had to spend a life as somebody broke and working and grinding, and he's like, this sucks, I can't do this. You know, so then they all end up back where they're supposed to be at the end of the day. And we don't necessarily see Gabriel, friggin' Keanu Reeves, get his wings back, but like, he is like a lesser angel. He's not even supposed to be involving himself or letting himself get seen by other people. He's just a texting and driving angel. So he's like that little, you're texting and driving and then you look up and you're almost in an accident, but you look up right at the last second to step on the brakes and you don't die. That's Keanu Reeves, Gabriel's angel, touching you on the shoulder and being like, stop texting and driving. You're not supposed to crash here. But because he's trying to do more, hopefully he gets bigger wings, and we don't necessarily see that, and I don't think we're necessarily going to get a Good Fortune 2 ever. We could, but I doubt it. And if we do, I hope Keanu Reeves' angel wings are much bigger. But, you know, Sandra Oh's angel wings, and she plays Martha the angel, her angel wings were fucking ginormous. And then Azrael, played by Stephen McKinley Henderson, who I know from Dune and some other things, Civil War, but Dune really is like that calculator guy in Dune. But Sandra Oh, many people know from what, Grey's Anatomy. Yep, from 2005 to 2014, 9 years on Grey's Anatomy. Wow. She was in The Princess Diaries 2001, Turning Red, the Panda movie. She was in Raya the Last Dragon 2021. You know, so Sandra Oh's been in some things, and I recognized her immediately. I was like, oh, where do I know her from? Grey's Anatomy? But it's still funny that like Seth Rogen's in here, and it's like a funny role, but he's also being pretty serious, and like not as funny a role for Seth Rogen as I would have thought. You know, like a lot of times his roles for himself are a lot funnier. But I think because Aziz Ansari, you know, starred in this and directed this and wrote this, and you know, he's Arj, you know, so like I think he wrote the role really for himself to be like, you know, that guy that is the main character the whole time. But Seth Rogen's character is also just like a piece of the story that, you know, he's there, but he's not necessarily the star of the show. You know, Aziz is definitely the star of the show, and even Gabriel's character is more of a star of the show than the two of them. You know, and like seeing him try and like come to wrap his mind around what this world is and like being a human. He's like, God, you have to eat, I'm hungry, I'm sweating, what do? You sleep in your car, you need to make money. He's working 2 jobs, and he goes, so far my favorite things is being a human are tacos and dancing, and he's dancing, he's tacos, and he's like, we have to go back. And finally, spoilers, but anybody that's seen this movie that clicked on this video maybe wants to actually talk more about it and hear what somebody thought about it. So spoilers, if you don't want to hear it, get out of here. But I thought the ending was quite a satisfactory ending too, where he goes, if I go back to be an angel, they don't eat food, so he goes, I won't be able to have a taco again. And he goes, I'll leave a taco out for you, brother. So then Aziz's character ends up with Keke Palmer, and they're going on dates, and they go and get tacos, and he leaves a taco on the tray waiting for Keanu Reeves' Gabriel to come and get it, and they leave, and then you just see the taco fold up like somebody's pinching it, about to eat it, but no hand, so just like an invisible taco roll up. And I wonder how they did that, probably with invisible strings, or maybe even just fully CGI. But either way, I thought it was a beautiful ending, implying that like Aziz ended up where he's supposed to be with his girl. They ended up doing some union stuff together, and like really fighting for the people on the ground to become rich people instead of just skipping the step and going right to the rich. Even Jeff's character was starting to make better decisions, making sure the food delivery guys get more money. And he goes, 1 star, 1 ranch, fuck you, bitch. Like, 1 ranch, 1 star, fuck you. Like, I don't know, man. It was really good. It was like 90 minutes, short and sweet, so I really liked that. The Letterboxd synopsis reads, need a miracle, ? A well-meaning but rather inept angel named Gabriel meddles in the lives of a struggling gig worker and a wealthy capitalist. Oh. So, obviously the struggling gig worker is Aziz, and then the wealthy capitalist is Seth Rogen's character, and the inept angel named Gabriel is Keanu Reeves. So, yeah, I like this. Will I ever watch it again? Maybe not, but I thought it was pretty decent and pretty good time. And yeah, I'm not too mad at it. Yeah, nothing too crazy. I think overall for me, I gave it 3.5 out of 5 stars. About a 7 out of 10. If I had to give it a true 10 score though, it's probably like a 6.8, 6.9. So maybe this should be more like a 3 out of 5 stars. Actually, I am going to change that. 3 out of 5 stars. 3.5 was maybe just how I was feeling last night. And I was like, you know what? That was funny. It was cute. I enjoyed it, But if we're actually looking at the quality of this movie, it's probably not that high. I've definitely seen better movies, better shot movies, better done movies, But there was some stuff in there that genuinely made me laugh and made me enjoy my 90 minutes last night. And yeah, not mad that I watched it, and hopefully you go and check it out yourself if you haven't. And if you have, I'd love to hear your thoughts about this movie down in the comment section below, or you can message me on my other social medias. Links for those down in the description below. Once again, my name's Big Cam, 2 G's in the Big, pretty much anywhere, and you can find me. Just look for this face. And once again, if you guys have made it this far into the video and you would like to support the channel, the best way of doing that is dropping a like on this video, commenting down in the comment section below, subscribing if you haven't already, and hit that bell so you don't miss future movie reviews and you get the notifications when those come out. I did another 2025 movie review that came out yesterday called Eternity with Elizabeth Olsen, Callum Turner, and Miles Teller, and that is streaming on Apple TV Plus, I believe, so go check those out if you haven't. This was streaming on Disney Plus and Hulu, I believe, so go check out those movies if you haven't, and drop some comments down below. And thank you guys for supporting the channel. If you want to support the channel even further, hit that share link button, copy link. You don't even necessarily need to post it or send it anywhere, but hitting share and hitting copy link goes a long way to helping out the channel. So I really appreciate anybody that really stuck around this far, and if you've made it this far, I love you. I can't appreciate you more, and you guys are my homies, and you're more into the stuff that I'm into than some of my friends are. So me and you, as far as I'm concerned, if you're still watching this, we're pals. I love you. I hope you're having a good day, and I'll see you gorgeous folks in the next one. Peace.